So this is a response into what Cowboy TD was saying about rushing the field or the court. You wanted to hear about certain fan bases, and I can pretty much talk about the Pac-10 and the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference, about rushing the field or rushing the court. This is more of a football thing for the most part, though, when it comes to rushing. You don't see it too much in basketball. I'll talk about San Jose State's brief history, though. Pretty much if you beat Boise State nowadays and you're at home, you rush the field if you're able to pull the upset today. Unless you're Hawaii. They're too storied to do that. Pretty much all the schools now hate Boise because they're the best team in the conference. But San Jose State historically rushed the field not three straight games, but 3 times against opponents during their 2006 season. They had a very magical year of going 8-4. First game was against Stanford. However, I know Stanford was 1-11 that year, but that was the second game of the season, and it was an emotional win because San Jose State came down from like 3 or 4 touchdowns. They were down by a lot before coming back. That was pretty historical from San Jose State's perspective. Second game was against Utah State, who was another sorry WAC school. No reason for that one. I think that was kind of wrong. Luckily, there were only a few people who did it, but the only reason why people rushed on that field was because it was the homecoming game. It shouldn't have happened, though, overall. A third time was against Fresno State. Fresno State had San Jose State's number historically for 16 straight games. And even though Fresno State was a 4-8 team that year, beating Fresno was like the Super Bowl almost for San Jose State fans. They've almost never beaten Fresno in their lifetime, so. And now they still have our number, winning 18 of the last 19 meetings, I believe. So Fresno, it might have been wrong because San Jose State was a favorite, but it hasn't happened in almost a long time. Now to break down the Pac-10, talking about what's gone on all throughout the Pac-10 schools. It doesn't happen too often. Some schools are secure about it, some are not, but start from the north and go south. Washington Huskies have only rushed the field pretty much against USC. That was a rare instance. Pretty much they were, obviously this season, they at least put up a fight, and they showed up in their games this year. Washington normally doesn't do that. They did go winless the year before, so it's understandable after beating USC like that. So in basketball, they're very good about it, not doing it. Washington State has rushed the field ever since they've won a thrilling game or a close game, any emotional win. They're another school that's kind of in scrub mode. They might be down for another year or two, so we'll see with Washington State. They did it against SMU and even against Washington in the Apple Cup a year ago. So wasn't really justified, but they've had frustration for the past 2 or 3 years. So. When it comes to Oregon, a lot of you saw it on national television. They did it twice against Oregon State in the Civil War and against USC. I do not justify the Civil War win because they were the favorite. I know they were partying, but I do not think it was right when Oregon rushed the Austin Stadium when it happened. In basketball, Oregon State rushed the court against UCLA in 2007. That was when UCLA was number 1, and I can justify that. I think that was fine because at the time Oregon was irrelevant in basketball for a while. So that was perfectly fine. For Oregon State, they do not rush the field very often. I mean, it's only happened. The only time it really happened was against USC. And of course, that was also on national television on a Thursday night. Oregon State beating USC. They understandably rushed the field there for a program who was 25-point underdog in that game. They're also, Oregon State did it against USC, I think, 2 years before that as well, in 2006. But that was justified. At Cal, it's almost impossible. You won't see that ever because they're very secure about it. However, there was an ironic fact when Stanford and Cal played this past year in Stanford, and the Stanford security pretty much let Cal march on the field because they opened the doors and everything. So it was funny how Cal fans for once got to be on the field, but they normally would not do it. They have enough class to not do it. Stanford will rush the field, depending on the situation, if it was a night game or an emotional win. The last time they really did it was against Cal in 2007, when Cal's had their number, but finally Stanford got the rivalry axe back. They don't rush the basketball court at all. UCLA very rarely will do it. Like, only a few students will. Some of the crazy drunk students will do it, but for the most part they're good. This year they did it against Washington in basketball. It may not have been the coolest thing to do, but there was barely anyone in that stadium, and the students rushed. Only the students were on the field. Not too many people were. Good news is that was not on national television. I don't think they did not rush the field when they upset Tennessee. Remember that as well. So UCLA, for the most part, does not do that. It was just one brief moment they did. The University of Southern California, will not do it. Obviously, they are a football school with good reasoning. And even in basketball, they will not do it. They're not going to rush the Galen Center court. For the Arizona schools, Arizona State, from what I hear, will not do it. They're pretty secure about it. Maybe if they beat USC, maybe it would happen, but not that I haven't seen it in recent history. I have not seen Arizona State rush the court or the field. Arizona, on the other hand, will rush the football field. Basketball they won't, because they're a basketball school, but historically, football-wise, they've done it, I think, at stupid times. There was a time they beat UCLA in 2007 when UCLA was like a 6-6 team that year. There was no point in them rushing the field that season, even though they had a losing record. They probably will rush the field the most out of any Pac-10 school. They were on the field prematurely against Oregon, for those of you who remember that this past season. I personally feel it's okay if you are a super underdog, like the University of South Carolina was against Kentucky. That was perfectly fine. I know in the SEC the rules are not cool, but I think it's fine when just teams are down by a lot and they never know that feeling of winning. I do think it's wrong when people rush the field prematurely, though. San Jose State will jinx it here. If there was a game we played against the Utah Utes early in September, the game was close for a while, and everyone said we're going to win, we're going to rush the field, but that didn't happen because we lost. And San Jose State's people know how to jinx it, some of the students. But for the most part, if you're a storied program, you should not do it at all. You should know what it's like to win throughout the time. If Iowa State upset Texas, though, as Cowboy TD said, then I think that'd be fine. That goes even same if Colorado did upset a ranked school. They're not good at basketball. So that's my little take on the rushing the court or the field. You do have to be a decent underdog, but if you're rushing the field against an unranked opponent for no reason, I guess it may contradict what I said before. I don't think there's a reason to do it. So, see y'all later, and hope you enjoyed watching this video.